Considering what Trump is doing as the man of the year, the FBI director, Christopher Wray, who was appointed by Trump at one point when Trump was saying, when he was on here and he was saying, hey, listen, I learned a lot. I'm making adjustments and I put in some people, but it may not necessarily have been the best thing. I think that one of the people that he was talking about was FBI director Christopher Wray. And he's told him, listen, the minute that I get into office on January 20th at 12:01 a.m., you will lose your job. Well, guess what Christopher did? He went on ahead and resigned. He said, I'm going to announce my resigning. I'm getting up out of here in January before Trump take office. Take a look.
Meanwhile, Trump's 2017 pick for FBI director announced he is resigning. Christopher Wray announced he would step down when President Biden leaves office. That's about 3 years before his term is set to end. Nicole D'Antonio has reaction from politicians this morning.
FBI Director Christopher Wray announces he will resign in January, making the announcement at an FBI town hall amid growing pressure from President-elect Trump and some Republicans.
This is not easy for me. I love this place, I love our mission, and I love our people. But my focus is, and always has been, on us and on doing what's right for the FBI.
The president-elect appointed Wray in 2017, saying he would be a fierce guardian of the law and a model of integrity. But his opinion changed after the FBI launched investigations into his efforts to overturn the 2020 election and his alleged handling of classified documents. Now he's celebrating Wray's resignation as he picks Kash Patel to replace Wray at the FBI pending Senate confirmation. ABC's Mary Bruce caught up with Patel on Capitol Hill.
Mr. Patel, Christopher Wray just announced he's resigning. What's your reaction?
We look forward to a very smooth transition, and I'll be ready to go on day one.
Are you going to be seeking retribution against Donald Trump's political opponents, sir?
Democrats have praised Wray's tenure at the FBI and are warning that Patel is unqualified and would be partisan.
There was a reason we put in place the idea that an FBI director would serve for 10 years so that you weren't subject to the whims of a particular president. Am I worried about that independence of the FBI? You bet.
Well, he got 4 more years on this deal. He ain't got to worry about it because he's going to go ahead and let go. Let's take Fox's perspective of it and see what they got to say. Fox Business.
Joining us now for his reaction, American Majority CEO Ned Ryan. What do you think of this resignation?
He said,
well, he saw the proverbial handwriting on the wall. Wray knew that he was done. He either had to resign or he was going to get fired by Donald Trump. And so he took the easy way out and resigned. I have to tell you, Liz, I think he's been one of the worst FBI directors maybe ever.
Maybe that's why Democrats are praising him. I don't know.
That's saying something since his predecessor was James Comey, who was an absolute disgrace. But you think about his tenure at the FBI, Wray's. I mean, they hid the Hunter Biden laptop. They manipulated elections, in my mind. They manipulated those elections. They weaponized the department against political opponents. They stonewalled Congress. I think it's been a miserable tenure for Wray, and he did well to resign because he was going to get fired. And now I think Kash Patel, who I'm pretty optimistic is going to get, hopefully, I think all 53 of the Republican votes to get confirmed. He's got quite the job in front of him to reform the FBI, but I think he's the man for the job. I think he's got incredible talent, and I think he's got incredible resolve. So he's the man for the hour, and I think we will see the FBI hopefully reformed into what it should be, upholding the rule of law instead of being a political weapon against opponents.
You know, Politico is reporting that Time Magazine is going to name Trump the man of the year. He's going to ring the bell on the New York Stock Exchange tomorrow. We know that inflation did tick up. I mean, Trump has a lot of work to do. He's going to move fast,
he does.
Reuters is saying, to immediately wipe out Biden's policies. He's going to do it within hours of taking power on his first day, a blizzard of something like 25 executive orders. The CNN polling is reporting that, you know, the majority of Americans like what Trump is doing. They like the transition. CNN also reporting that, you know, J.B. Pritzker and the Resist Trump push is failing, that nobody's really signing up for it, only one governor, Jared Polis. So when you see all of this, Senator John Thune is saying he's going to move fast on the Trump agenda. Do you think that will happen?
Absolutely.
I was encouraged by Senator Thune's comments today that he wants to push the agenda. It's an aggressive legislative agenda they've got in front of them. I mean, listen, Senator Thune, and I think the senators are getting the memo. Donald Trump was elected as a change agent by the American people. He needs his various change agents like Kash, like Pete, all of these people his nominees to be confirmed as quickly as possible, and they need to be supporting him in his agenda. And I know on day one, Liz, some of those executive orders are going to be dealing with shutting down the border immediately, and then you got to get to the hard work of actually securing the border, and then deporting the hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants with criminal records.
Millions.
And I know one of the other things they want to get cracking on is energy independence. And so I know that they're going to be doing some of these things to actually increase LNG production, drilling on federal lands and off the U.S. shores. So I'm excited to see what Trump is going to be doing in a very aggressive way in January. But this is, again, why the American people elected him. And I think he's giving the American people optimism and hope for the future. And that's a great thing. That's why I think.
And it's interesting that we having this conversation, because it's almost like the people over there in Illinois and in Chicago can't read the room. They do know that there's going to be another election eventually that then unseat them. I mean, I know J.B. Pritzker probably don't care, because I heard that his family got money and he's practically a billionaire anyway. But Brandon Johnson on the other end, maybe Brandon Johnson is taking some payouts. And that's not a fact. That's just my theory. Let me just make sure that I preface it by saying that. That's my theory. Because there's no way that you could be doing this bad of a job in Chicago thinking that the people are going to reelect you, and you came in as a school teacher, which means that you're not. See, J.B. Pritzker, he may be a bad governor. He may be horrible, but J.B. Pritzker is not dependent on the job for his survival, and that's the difference. Not dependent on that job for his survival. Whereas you got Brandon Johnson is just doing a horrible job, and it's just mounting and it's mounting and it's mounting. And we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. He is a part of the show today. He is on the docket.
What's your reaction to Wray's resignation?
We look forward to a very smooth transition at the FBI, and I'll be ready to go on day one.
All right, he is the president's choice to head the FBI on the same day that Christopher Wray is saying, I'm leaving the FBI. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen on what he makes of Kash Patel, the president's choice to do that. Senator, always great having you. You've had a chance to meet him. You know him pretty well. What do you think?
I've known Kash for a little while, since my time in the House Intel. I think he's perfect. You've got to remember, this is a guy that exposed the FBI for weaponizing against President Trump. He's the one that brought forth the complaint about the Russian hoax, about the collusion, about the dossier report. He also exposed the fact that Hunter Biden's laptop was actually being protected by the FBI underneath Director Wray's direction. And so,
nope, Slimmy, I'm not agreeing that all politicians are compromised. I don't think that all politicians are compromised. You can't say all of anything, Slimmy. I think that there's a lot of them. I think that most of them are. That's one of the reasons why we need to drain the swamp. But you can't say all. I don't believe that all politicians are compromised. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that or current mayor Mike Duggan in Detroit, I don't think that he's compromised at all. I could be wrong, but I don't believe so.
So I believe that Kash is the perfect person that's going to be able to clean house at the FBI on the 7th floor of the Hoover building and put it back to mission focus. Now, mind you, there's a difference between the guys on the 7th floor versus the guys in the field every day that's actually watching over the American people and keeping us safe. And that's where it needs to be reformed, is on the 7th floor. And that's where Kash will be focusing. And I'm happy that Director Wray stepped down, so we don't have to deal with that. We can just focus on moving forward.
You know, do you ever worry, Senator, that Donald Trump might go tit for tat if he claims that the FBI was weaponized to go after him and people close to him, that he's weaponizing the FBI to do the exact same thing to the other guys?
No, and people bring this up, Neil, which is a fair question, right? But he didn't do that when he was in office in 2017, when he was a 45th president. So all you have to do is look back the way that he utilized the FBI, the way he handled this situation. He never went after Clinton, even though they had weaponized themselves against him. You've got to remember, they tried to impeach him from day one. They constantly were saying it was a Russian collusion, and was saying that he was compromised, using the whole thing about Ukraine. Right. He never once weaponized one single agency, not the DOJ, the IRS, or anybody else.
Didn't the FBI's behavior pick up steam and really bother him as it went on, as his years went on, and of course later on with the raid on his home and everything else?
Of course.
That now that sticks in his craw, and that's why his critics say he's on a vendetta tour. Do you think he is?
I don't believe so. I think you have to believe what he's going to do. He's going to restore these agencies back to working for America, not working for the party. Right now these agencies have been weaponized.
He's going to be working for America and not himself?
Because he did as a 45th president. He's going to continue to do so. He loves this country. He sacrificed so much for this country. And someone that sacrifices this much to serve as president of the United States is going to also take care of it. That's why the American people believed him. That's why the popular vote, he got more popular votes than what we had since Reagan on his second election. He got more electoral votes than anyone since Reagan on his second election. Because the American people want change. And President Trump's a person that's going to offer that change.
So you're very hopeful about that. The reason why I mentioned it is
I think that he's going to be a phenomenal FBI director. I'm glad that Christopher Wray is taking a humiliation route and deciding that he wants to step down. If this is me, you just got to fire me. Lock away the key. Throw away the key. You got to fire me. Unless I find something else that's better, unless I got another position lined up, I don't care what it is. You gonna have to fire me. Ain't no letting go at this point in my life. So that is what's going on with the FBI director, ladies and gentlemen.